The movie opens with a teenage boy stumbling out of the woods, completely disoriented. He looks confused by everything around him, like he's seeing the world for the very first time. At first glance, the boy can't remember his name, his home, or a single detail about his life. After wandering around aimlessly for a while, he finally heads toward the city, hoping somebody there can help him. There's just one problem. He doesn't even realize he's barely dressed properly, and people immediately begin staring at him like he's from another planet. Within minutes, the police stop him and take him into custody for causing a disturbance in public. Since he can't answer basic questions or even understand what's happening around him, the officers decide to give him a temporary name, Kyle. Kyle gets sent to the dining hall with the other boys. But instead of eating normally, he carefully watches everyone around him and copies their movements exactly, almost like he's learning human behavior in real time. One guy thinks Kyle is mocking him, and the tension quickly explodes into a fight. Later in the yard, that same kid punches Kyle directly in the face. Kyle drops to the ground, confused more than angry, and his strange reaction afterward leaves the guards unsure how to deal with him. At this point, they decide to bring in a psychiatrist named Nicole to figure out what's really going on inside his head. Nicole asks him to draw something, and within seconds, Kyle sketches a perfect image from memory. Two people he saw earlier in the woods. The level of detail is unbelievable. Nicole starts believing Kyle may have experienced some kind of severe trauma that erased his memories. So instead of leaving him locked up, she takes him home temporarily for further observation. When Nicole brings him inside, her daughter Lori is caught completely off guard after unexpectedly seeing a strange boy in the house. Kyle barely reacts though. He seems disconnected from reality. Lori doesn't pay much attention to him either, since she's busy thinking about her boyfriend. A little later, Kyle walks outside and notices a butterfly. Completely fascinated, he follows it without hesitation. That's when he hears soft music coming from a nearby house. Curious, he walks toward the sound and meets a girl named Amanda. The second Kyle hears Amanda playing music, tears suddenly fill his eyes, but he can't stop staring. And when Amanda finally turns around and notices him standing there awkwardly, Kyle panics and runs back home, hiding silently inside the bathtub. At the exact same time, Nicole's younger son Josh walks into the bathroom carrying an adult magazine. The moment he notices Kyle sitting in the tub, he screams and runs straight to his mother. Soon afterward, Amanda's mother Carol arrives at Nicole's house, furious about what happened earlier. Amanda and Kyle briefly look at each other in this strangely emotional way, almost like there's some invisible connection between them. Carol immediately senses the awkwardness and quickly takes Amanda home before the situation gets even stranger. That night, Nicole's husband Steven returns home and learns that Kyle will be staying with them for a while. During dinner, something unexpected happens. For the very first time, Kyle speaks, but unfortunately, the first words out of his mouth are rude phrases he learned from the boys at the detention center. Then, without realizing what he's doing, he repeats private things Lori had said earlier on the phone to her boyfriend. The entire table goes dead silent when everyone realizes Lori was secretly planning to run away with him. The next morning, Nicole continues Kyle's counseling sessions at her office. Meanwhile, Josh secretly hands Kyle a worksheet filled with difficult school questions, expecting him to fail miserably. Instead, Kyle solves every single answer almost instantly. Now Nicole realizes something terrifying. Kyle isn't unintelligent at all. In fact, he may be smarter than anyone they've ever seen. When his IQ test results come back, the doctors are stunned beyond belief. Kyle scores over 400. His brain scans reveal activity levels far beyond normal human limits. Some doctors even begin wondering whether he could be an advanced artificial being or something not entirely human. Later that night, Nicole brings Kyle back home and tells Josh they'll be sharing a room together. Josh hates the idea immediately, but he doesn't really have a choice. In the middle of the night, Kyle hears Lori sneaking out of the house. Curious, he follows her to a party. Everything there feels new and overwhelming to him, and before long, he gets carried away by the atmosphere. After drinking far too much, he embarrasses himself badly. Then, suddenly, the police arrive. One officer grabs Lori, trying to take her away, but Kyle steps between them. His behavior becomes bizarre. He makes strange snake-like sounds, confusing everyone around him. People start laughing, thinking he's just acting crazy. But the moment the officer tries to forcefully grab him, Kyle reacts with lightning-fast reflexes. What happens next completely humiliates the officer in front of the crowd, and everyone bursts into applause. Furious and embarrassed, the officer finally gives up and leaves. And despite all the chaos, Kyle safely brings Lori back home that night. After this, something starts changing inside the family. Kyle begins helping everyone. He repairs Steven's broken computer and even recovers important documents. He cleans Josh's messy room and surprises him with something he likes. Kyle starts becoming part of the family. Nicole even begins considering considering the possibility of temporarily adopting him until they uncover the truth about his past. But one thing continues bothering everyone. Kyle never sleeps. Every night, while the rest of the family rests, Kyle stays awake practicing martial arts for hours without showing any exhaustion. Even stranger, he'll eat almost anything he touches without hesitation, whether it's raw, cooked, or something nobody should normally eat at all. And then another mystery appears. One day, while Kyle is outside, he notices a man sitting inside a van, watching him closely. At first, Kyle ignores it, but soon he starts spotting the same man everywhere he goes. A few days later, Nicole takes Kyle to another specialist. The doctor is left speechless after reviewing the results. Kyle's body looks completely untouched by time or injury. His teeth are flawless. His organs appear unusually healthy, and once again, his brain activity shows levels that simply shouldn't be possible. The doctors decide to test something else. They give Kyle sleeping medication, but that night reveals an even darker secret. Even after taking powerful sleep medicine, Kyle never falls asleep. Instead, he quietly stands outside in the yard, staring up at the stars for hours, like he's searching for something beyond Earth itself. Steven assumes Kyle simply has endless energy, so he decides to take him running the next day, believing intense exercise will finally wear him out. Steven used to be a serious runner, and he's confident he can push Kyle to his limits. Kyle runs like an Olympic athlete without slowing down once. By the end of the run, Steven is completely exhausted, while Kyle looks perfectly fine. Frustrated and unsettled, he argues with Nicole and says what everyone has secretly been thinking. Kyle isn't normal. Maybe he doesn't even belong here. Unfortunately, Kyle overhears every word, and for the first time since arriving, he looks genuinely heartbroken. That same night, Kyle disappears without telling anyone. Steven searches everywhere. Nicole panics. The police are contacted, but since not enough time has passed, they refuse to launch a full search immediately. Then, Nicole notices something strange sitting beside her bed. Several drawings Kyle had made earlier. One sketch points toward a specific location in the woods. Without wasting another second, Nicole and Steven grab flashlights and head into the forest. Eventually, they find Kyle standing silently beneath the night sky. After bringing Kyle back home, Steven finally apologizes for what he said earlier. But then another strange moment happens. While listening to the radio for the first time, Kyle suddenly reacts to the static noise between channels. His entire expression changes, almost like the sound is triggering something deep inside him. And this is where the mystery starts getting much bigger. The next morning, Nicole receives a disturbing phone call from the police. Near the exact location where Kyle was first discovered, investigators have found human remains hidden in the woods. Nicole is shaken immediately. Detective Taylor explains that whoever died, there was exposed to some kind of highly intense burning material, meaning the death was recent. Investigators also recovered small skin samples from the scene, which are now being analyzed. And because Kyle was found nearby, the police are beginning to suspect he may somehow be connected. Taylor wants to question Kyle right away, but Nicole delays the conversation until Kyle wakes up. The following morning, Kyle tries watching television, but the antenna signal keeps cutting out. Without hesitation, he climbs directly onto the roof to fix it himself. Amanda witnesses the entire thing. For a split second, she's convinced Kyle seriously hurt himself. That night, Steven privately tells Nicole another alarming detail the police uncovered. On the same day, Kyle appeared in the forest. Another man mysteriously vanished. Unknown to them, someone else is secretly listening to every word they say. The mysterious man from the van has planted a remote microphone nearby and has been monitoring the family the entire time. The next morning, Nicole discovers several of Kyle's drawings hidden inside the boys' room. At first, they seem random, but after arranging them carefully, she notices a strange symbol repeated across the sketches. It's the exact same symbol investigators found at the crime scene in the woods. Now, there's no doubt anymore. Kyle was connected to whatever happened there. Meanwhile, Amanda starts working as a lifeguard at a local pool. Kyle, who's clearly developing feelings for her, decides to impress her in the most awkward way possible. He intentionally jumps into the pool, hoping Amanda will rescue him. Unfortunately, the plan completely backfired. People laugh at him, and the whole thing turns painfully embarrassing. Still, Amanda becomes more curious about him than ever. Later that evening, she visits Nicole's house to check on Kyle. When Amanda enters Kyle's room, she discovers dozens of drawings Kyle secretly made of her. Now, Amanda feels unsettled. She starts wondering if Kyle's fascination has gone too far, but the next day changes everything again. Kyle asks Amanda to teach him how to swim. She gives him a few basic instructions, explaining expecting him to struggle. Instead, moments later, Kyle glides through the water effortlessly, like he's been swimming his entire life. Everyone at the pool stops and stares. Amanda is completely speechless. Afterward, she invites Kyle over to her house while her parents are away. There, she shows him artwork created by her late father, and suddenly, another impossible connection appears. Kyle's sketches look almost identical to her father's artistic style. That similarity is exactly why Amanda wanted to see him again. Wanting to do something meaningful for her, Kyle creates a beautiful portrait by blending his own art style with Amanda's father's work. At a party later that night, Kyle finally gathers enough courage to give Amanda the gift, only to discover she arrived with her boyfriend Charlie. The disappointment completely crushes him. Back home, Kyle sits alone, thinking about the same questions haunting him from the beginning. Who is he? Why can't he remember anything except the forest and the stars? The following day, Nicole introduces Kyle to a specialist who uses hypnosis to recover lost memories. Kyle agrees, and during the session, his mind finally returns to the night he appeared in the woods. What he sees changes everything. Kyle remembers the mysterious man who's been following him. In the memory, that man is fighting with another person deep inside the forest. Suddenly, gunshots ring out, and the stranger flees the scene. Then Kyle says a name out loud, Tom Foss. Nicole instantly recognizes it. That same name came up earlier at the police station. Tom Foss is supposedly a new officer who recently transferred into town. Now, Nicole realizes this goes far deeper than a normal investigation. She asks Kyle to sketch the man he saw. Kyle creates a perfect portrait from memory. Days later, the exact same face appears in a newspaper article. The dead man from the woods has finally been identified. His name was Feldman, a university professor specializing in human memory research. Now the pieces begin connecting. Kyle decides to visit Feldman's university, searching for answers. But once he arrives, another shocking discovery nearly breaks him. Inside an old class photograph showing Feldman's students, Kyle sees himself. The problem? Nobody remembers him. Feldman's assistant, Holly, insists she worked with the professor for years and never once saw Kyle before. Even after Kyle shows her the photograph, she remains confused. Still, she agrees to perform memory-related tests on him, and once again, Kyle achieves impossible results. Perfect scores across every single test. Holly can barely believe it. Excited and terrified at the same time, she explains Feldman's research focused on unlocking the full potential of the human brain. According to him, normal humans only use a fraction of their mental capacity, but if someone could fully activate the brain, they might become something beyond human. And now, standing right in front of her, Kyle appears to be living proof that Feldman succeeded, which means Feldman may have been killed because of this research. Holly then takes Kyle and Lori to meet Feldman's widow, who allows them to examine his private files. Inside, they discover more drawings containing the same mysterious symbol from the crime scene, but that's not all. Several pages repeat the same numbers over and over again. Coordinates. Stephen later confirms those coordinates belong to a heavily guarded government facility under military control. At this point, the situation officially becomes dangerous. Determined to uncover the truth, Kyle heads toward the facility with help from one of Feldman's former students. Once near the perimeter, Kyle sneaks inside alone. Suddenly, a masked attacker ambushes him. But all those sleepless nights practicing martial arts finally pay off. Kyle defends himself with incredible speed and manages to remove the attacker's mask. The face underneath shocks him completely. It's Tom Foss, the same man from his memories. Tom warns Kyle that he has no idea what kind of people he's dealing with. He tells him the deeper he digs into his past, the more danger he brings to Nicole and the rest of the family. Every step toward the truth could destroy the people he loves. That warning terrifies Kyle enough to finally stop searching, or at least he tries to, because by now, it's already too late. Government cameras spotted Kyle inside the restricted facility, and one agent quietly refers to him using a classified name, Project X. The moment Nicole returns home, she rushes Kyle to the hospital to treat his injuries from the break-in. But before they can process anything else, an unexpected couple arrives claiming to be Kyle's real parents, and somehow they have proof. Photos, documents, DNA results. Everything confirms their story. But Kyle immediately senses something is wrong. He refuses to leave Nicole and the family behind. That same night, Kyle secretly meets Tom Foss again, demanding answers. Tom finally admits the supposed parents are dangerous people capable of manipulating DNA evidence itself. Before Tom can explain further, a sniper suddenly opens fire. Kyle barely dodges the shot with his enhanced reflexes, but Tom gets hit in the shoulder instead. instead. Forced to escape together, they narrowly survive another series of sniper attacks before finally reaching safety. There, Tom reveals the truth to Kyle, but the audience still isn't allowed to hear it yet. The next morning, Kyle shocks everyone by calmly announcing that his memories have returned. He claims the mysterious couple truly are his parents and says he's ready to leave with them. Nicole and the family are devastated. Kyle says goodbye and drives away with the couple. But then comes the massive twist. The couple aren't his parents at all. They're actors hired by Tom Foss as part of a secret operation. Kyle is taken to a hidden facility where the final truth is finally revealed. He isn't human in the normal sense. Kyle is a clone. Adam, the man behind everything, explains that Professor Feldman created technology capable of enhancing human abilities far beyond natural limits. Eventually, Feldman sold that technology to the government, turning his research into the center of a dangerous hidden war. Then Adam reveals the biggest shock of all. Kyle is actually Adam's clone. Adam is a billionaire, obsessed with overcoming human limitations and extending life itself. But now, both the government and powerful organizations are fighting to control the cloning technology, and Kyle isn't even the final version. A more advanced project is already being developed inside a secret government program called Project XX. Perfected clones are coming,